Yeah,
I
and
agree.
I definitely think, like, going back to our theory last year, Patrick, that there's some ops in Fromville, and
It
my
is.
number one was Fatima. I thought I don't think she wants to go home.
Yep.
Welcome to the Two Watchers on the Wall podcast or YouTube channel, where two crows sit on each watch by the sea and we talk about the shows we love. So again, we're talking about From, and we got a really good response from our last video for season 2, episode 1 of From. And just from that, we thought we'd come on here again and talk about some of our theories, get more into depth into that, and then some theories about the characters and some of your
Exactly.
theories as well. So
And we have a special guest with us on the line calling in. Derek, say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Good, good, good. And Derek is a fan of the show. How did you find out about the show, Derek?
Well, actually, I found out from you. You told me about the show, and so I needed to start watching it. And so I got the Prime subscription and watched 3 episodes, and then got hooked. And I ended up, I think, over a 2-day period, ended up watching all 10 episodes.
Patrick,
And,
you're sharing the good news, the
Yeah.
gospel of From.
You got, and sometimes you got to spread. You have to spread the love, the wealth around. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
So let's start off by first. Since we've had a chance to watch From multiple times now since our first video, let's go around and talk about, has anybody's perception of episode 1 changed, or is it still the same? So who wants to go first?
I can go first. A lot of the comments and a lot of the forums have been saying that these characters are the writers put the characters in positions that were kind of differentiating from their characteristics from last season, and I don't really agree with that. People really mention Jade a lot, and I was just like, Jade seemed the same to me. I feel like the only character difference really was shown last season when, he really got to know Kenny's mom. But he's always been brusque, always been kind of
Teacup.
Yeah, I mean, he's just always been Jade, so it's like he didn't seem any different to me. So that was a little different. So my perception really hasn't changed as far as the characters go, but as the show, just watching it a couple times, I'm getting that, like a lot of other people were saying, that lost feeling of where there was just so much going on, and I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna keep positive, and I'm just gonna say it's the first episode of season 2. I think the fandom really kind of pushed, and I want to say is responsible for them getting us season 2, of us talking about it and just going on about this show. So maybe they felt a little like, oh, we gotta really give it to them and give it to them good, and they just kind of overreached a little bit.
Okay.
So, I mean, other than that, I do have a really crazy theory that I'm going to share, but I'm a little embarrassed to share. But we can talk about that later.
Okay. All right, Derek, how did you feel about the episode after watching it a couple of times?
Yeah, initially I was really bothered with all the jumping around at first, because they would only spend a couple minutes on the characters, and I just thought there was a lot of scene jumping. But then after I went back and rewatched it a couple times, I thought they were really just setting everything up for the next 9 episodes.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really have a problem when initially I thought, man, what, they got Boyd in this pit, but why are they devoting so little time to him until they got to the end? And when I rewatched the end last night, I was like, oh my God, I said. And I have a theory too to share about Boyd, but I think we're probably going to go a little further into that, so I'm not going to dive too far into that. But the other thing too that some of the things that I saw on the comments online is that there were jump scares. Mm-hmm. And so when I watched it the second time, the two that I think the viewers were referring to was When Victor and Tabitha were down in the cave, and the person came out from the cage, and maybe people thought that was a jump scare. I think when Jay was like, "Hey, I'm about to go ahead and spark this blunt up," and then the dog like screamed at him, and he jumped. And I think, well, that's really just part of, if you in some place like this and every night you got to go into hiding for your life and you don't know if you're gonna die every night. I mean, you're
Or
gonna
if you're
get
in the colony swinger house, you don't know if somebody's gonna open up a door or a window.
yeah. So
And rip your tongue out.
I'm gonna hallucinate too.
Hey, Derek, you gonna roll a blunt too? No.
Listen, if I'm in Fromville, everything goes. I might be in Colony House. I might have to see you and Jameson later.
Yeah, I'd end up drinking up all the Cavassier that I found and the Hennessy and
Yeah.
No, look, I'm not mad at that at all, and I kind of agree with you a little bit, Derek. Initially, when I first watched it, I felt like episode 1 was really jarring because I felt like it was swinging back and forth so much. But then, as I kind of thought about the episode, I said, "Hey, they do have to touch bases on all of these things that they set up from the previous season. They had to show us Boyd. They had to show us Colony House. They had to show us the repercussions of trying to contact via the satellite thing. They had to show us the bus pulling up. But still, I'm still going to hang on to not my theory, but my perspective of, I really wish they would have maybe released 2 episodes, then went to the once a week. Because then I think that could have made it feel a little bit less jarring. But I don't feel as strongly as I did about it watching it a couple more times. So I definitely agree with you guys on that for sure.
Yeah. Let's get into some of these theories we have. You had a really good one.
Which one?
About Elgin that you were talking about last night.
Oh,
and I think goodness. It is. I think it's good.
Yeah, like there's a couple of things that I kind of want to talk about, like kind of theory wise, right? So Elgin is interesting, and I kind of noticed, and I think you were talking about this too, Derek, that he started having a seizure when the house collapsed, right? And he also feels like he was on the bus. He was saying, "We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be here." So he has some type of connection to this place.
Oh, and remember, the nurse on the bus asked him, "Do you know where you are?" And he was like, "Do you?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he definitely has a connection. That was
creepy.
It was super creepy. And I'm like, is he reincarnated? I wonder, do people come back in different forms? I even was wondering, is he somehow related to Boyd in some way or something like that? Because Boyd is not there, he's there, he has some type of connection. And I was kind of wondering, do people who maybe escape come back reincarnated? Or
do they get placed back in?
Yeah, placed back in. And let me explain why I kind of say this real quick, and then we'll move on to some theories. Last year, and somebody on our comment section on our YouTube channel, maybe you can find it, Candace. Mm-hmm. They asked about the lighthouse. They was like, "Why is there a lighthouse when there's no water?"
Yeah, and I think it was Angela.
Yes, and I kind of when we were doing the videos last year was saying that it reminded me of a movie that Tom Cruise is in. I forgot the name of the movie, but
Minority Report.
Not Minority Report. It was the one where there was multiples of him, and he was not allowed to. It was like a space movie. Go outside of this boundary.
Oh, okay.
And I forgot the name of it. What are you saying, Derek?
Oh no, I was saying I heard what you're talking about.
Yeah. So to me, is that lighthouse like a boundary, almost like in like a video game, where when you hit a certain boundary, you get to go somewhere else or something like that. And I wonder, is that lighthouse like some type of boundary that when you get out of it, you leave the zone or you leave the game or whatever the case may be? Because like you said, is there water around there? And I can't remember the Tom Cruise movie. I'm going to find it and I'm going to put some footage of it because I snatched some footage in the other video. So that was kind of like one of my theories. And one of the other things I kind of thought was interesting when Boyd came out of the thing, and this kind of goes to what you were saying, I think, Derek. Weren't you saying that you thought Boyd is maybe turning into a monster or something?
Yeah, because I was just kind of looking at some of the upcoming episodes, and in one of the episodes, it stated that Boyd's condition is going to grow more alarming.
Mm.
So I'm thinking, okay, so what happened there? Because the person that was chained to the wall, he said, "I want you to do something for me." He's like, "What? I want you to kill me."
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, why does this man want Boyd to kill him?
Yep.
Is it because he's, maybe one of those monsters, or he could turn into one of those monsters? Or if he does not kill him,
Yep.
then he will, whatever is in him will get into Boyd. And so I'm really just, man, I'm just super excited about, okay, what's going to happen in that upcoming episode? What's going on with Boyd's condition?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
was there
agree.
something that happened in the whale?
There's something going on with Boyd. I think that is not really. I mean, it might be his Parkinson's, but I think there's something else going on, and the whole thing of like killing the people in the village Fromville. I don't know. This is one of my theories. Like, the guy wants him, who's chained up, wants Boyd to like shoot him and kill him. So I do think that there's something to that you were saying about something jumping out of him and going into Boyd, and that made me think like, what if Sarah was right? Maybe you do need to kill everybody to get out of this, whatever this is. Because remember, Boyd's wife, she thought the same thing. She thought that we're in a dream. We're in something. Something was telling her that she needed to kill everybody to get them out. Remember?
Yeah.
So the same thing is happened to Sarah last season, trying to kill Ethan and all the people that she killed. Maybe this is something that is passing. I don't know, passing on, or I don't know.
That's really interesting that you say that, and like you said, it could be passing on. One of the things that I wanted to say really quick before we maybe make our way to some of the comments on the video. One of the things that I noticed, and I want you guys to look at it because I was watching from not about an hour or two ago, when Boyd got out the well and the man was like, "Kill me, kill me." A lot of people are wondering who threw that rope down, right?
I think you want me to tell who I think it was?
The dude?
No, I think it was Sarah.
Think it was Sarah? Interesting. I think okay, I want y'all to watch this and look at this. The man that was on the chain, that was chained up against the wall, the chains were huge. It looked like he could just slip his hand out of it. I want y'all to look at that chain really close. The ring that was around his hand, I was like, bro, you can literally pull your hand out of it. And I'm wondering, is that dude going to attack Boyd or something like that? Because he almost looks like he's being transformed or something like that. But what are you going to say, Derek?
But the other part of that is, how did he throw the rope down? I'm like, what's going on with that?
What you mean, the dude? Which dude?
Yeah, so maybe like you're saying, and I agree with you. It's like he's just kind of up against the wall, but he can really get away, because how did he free himself to lower the rope so that Boyd could get out?
Exactly. So he could trust him. Because now Boyd would probably trust him. And Boyd's nature, he's probably going to say, man, I don't want to kill you. Let's talk about it. How can I help you out? That's Boyd's nature. And then
I would hope Boyd would come out the well and be like, you're chained up. How did you throw that damn rope down the well?
But Boyd, but he's not going to know that he threw the rope down. I think the guy wanted Boyd to think somebody else threw it down. Because to me, the dude didn't look like, if you look at the chains, it looked like it was big enough where he could literally just pull his hand out the doggone chain. And
we can literally talk about this
that
all
forever.
night. Let's get to these comments. Okay, so here's one comment that I loved. It's kind of weird. It's kind of sick, but I loved it. Rick Zor commented, I get a lot of hype around these episodes, finally seeing their layer and all that, but I was slightly underwhelmed. Maybe last season had me so lit. I can't accept just it being a pretty good opener. what was interesting, what he said is, I want to see a lot of the bus people murdered next episode just to raise the hairs on our arms.
Yeah, that was
He
funny.
says sadistic, I know, but that is from. We need the shock factor, and the monsters need to talk to the people stuck under the collapsed house, telling them some freaky shizzle. That's my 2 cents. So thank you, Rick Zor, for your comment. I kind of agree. You know, remember when Donna was saying last season, she watched her sister for an hour get like, and they were like playing with her. I want to see that. I want to see how these monsters like get down, like how bad it can get for some reason. I think that would add another layer of horror to the show instead of using jump scares.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to get one in, Derek? Or you want me to go? I could go. If
No,
you
go
need.
ahead. I'm looking at the one from Angela E. She really like took a lot of time to
Yeah, she went in.
provide a number of comments.
Shout out
and
to
I
you,
don't think
Angela E.
Thank you, Angela E.
Yeah, and Angela, they were awesome comments, but it's like, man, which one do I take out of these 9? We need to invite Angela E on the show because she's got so much stuff to share.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but I mean, she had so many. I'm gonna just grab one, and I thought about this too. I don't know how this slipped by us, and it hit me last night. Really, why is it that nobody has a phone? That was so deep to me. Not only, and maybe it doesn't matter because also too, when people are saying that they're getting lost, their phones don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, you never hear anybody say, "Where's the call somebody?" Or even when all the people got off the bus, nobody on the bus said, "Hey, let me call somebody."
Call 911, call the fire
Yeah, because she
department.
kept saying, "Let me leave and then go get help." No, why not just call 911 now?
Yeah, nobody thought about like, a whole house collapsed.
Yeah, she was like, "Let's
I should
go."
call the fire department. Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to look at what was this comment?
Yeah, season. It's her question. Number 3 as well was interesting. She said it looked like the bus driver was asleep last year. How was she able to navigate this year? Which is definitely interesting. I want to talk about her number 6. She talked about.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to. That's the one I really.
Oh,
I
the
wanted to
ops.
talk about.
The op.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know, right? We'll let you start
Yeah.
off first, Derek, and then we're gonna come back with dessert on top. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this guy is really interesting because he just pops in and out of scenes. He doesn't really have a whole lot to say, but then he'll come up and just say something like, I'm a bartender and, and I'm good at crowd control. And I thought that was just really weird how he just popped up, like that. And it's like, what is he really doing? And why does he come into these scenes like this? And it just made me think of, you have these movies where there's just this real big character. They don't really have a lot. But then when you get to the end of the movie, it's like, this was a person that you really needed to watch all along. And I think that as this series goes on, that they're going to really develop this guy. He's going to end up being somebody that
Important.
is probably working on behalf of these monsters, or he's doing something to control things and to keep them there, which will eventually result in these people all being killed.
Yeah,
I agree.
I definitely think, like, going back to our theory last year, Patrick, that there's some ops in Fromville, and
It
my
is.
number 1 was Fatima. I thought she's I don't think she wants to go home.
Yeah, I think that there are several people, and we talked about this, that these people don't want to go home. And let's think about this for a minute. The real world is hard. You got to pay bills. You got to work. You got to do all these things. These people at Colony House are having orgies. They're smoking weed.
We don't know if they're having orgies.
We've seen them.
Oh, yeah, they
like
are.
strippers
Yeah,
and stuff. Like we've
Yeah.
seen them. These people, in some ways, are living their best damn life. You know what I'm saying?
Responsibilities.
Yeah, especially now that they got the talisman. You're for the most part, if people do what they're supposed to do, you're safe, right? So Tabitha always struck me very weird because I felt like when
You mean Fatima?
Fatima, she always struck me weird because I felt like she was grooming, his daughter.
Okay, very much grooming.
Like she was grooming her, and even when old boy proposed to her, she had like this look on her face. I really feel like she is invested and likes being there. And I bet you, if we find out anything about her past outside of here, I bet you she was a shady person.
Or she was running from something.
Yes, I guarantee it. And then the bartender, back to what Derek was saying, I honestly feel like he is working for these people. Because he, like you said, they keep showing us him, but it's like, why? Because I feel like eventually they're going to break something out on us.
He's almost like the guy who just pops up out of nowhere and tries to help too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why are you're this doesn't affect you. Why are you really, trying to help? Can I talk about my crazy theory and then we can go?
Sure.
Can I say one thing real
Okay,
quick
go
before
ahead.
you do, because it's kind of relating to sex and orgies and stuff.
Everyone's
Why
favorite
is it that,
subject.
I know, right? Why is nobody pregnant? Why has nobody in this community gotten pregnant, or why do we not see a pregnant person?
The same reason, the same way that there's goats, chickens,
Out of nowhere.
weed,
there's-
alcohol,
Canned peaches.
canned peaches.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
got running water, you got electricity. We don't know where that's coming from, and
Yeah.
All of your basic needs and a little bit more are taken care of pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, almost everything
It's been taken care
is
of.
being taken. Maybe not the self-actualization part, but I mean, if you were there alone, you could eventually get to a place where you can, get to self-actualization, because you, like you said, you're not getting the constant pounding on you and your spirit from the real world.
Mm-hmm.
The grind, the bills, the rat race. You can self-actualize in a place like that. So I don't know, but I was thinking about this last night. Have you ever seen the Truman Show?
Mm-mm.
yeah,
I think this is what that is. But
yeah.
I don't know
It's
if
like,
I feel like this is something that rich people are doing and watching it like it's a show or something.
Like Squid Game.
Like Squid Game.
yeah. And what was the other movie? Where they were inside of a game, and they had to fight to the death.
Alice in Borderlands. Or Hunger
No,
Games.
not that.
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can
And
keep
they're
going.
just sitting here, just manipulating, keeping them inside of this bubble. But I just really want to know what is going on with Victor, because when they went into that, I know we're on a theory, but I still want to just go back to him, because they went into that room, and Victor's always had that lunchbox, and so then they find this picture, and there's Victor as a small child holding this lunchbox,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, what is going on with that?
Yeah, and Victor.
And
I want to know
and
his story.
who was the man in the picture?
Yeah, because he grew up there. If that's him in the picture, he grew up there, or they aged him up. I don't know. I don't know. And LMB had brought up a good question. What entity is communicating with Victor? How did he know the slaughter at the house was going to happen? The little boy is nonverbal with Victor. So how did he know all of this?
Mm-hmm.
I would just guess that he's been there the longest. So I don't know. He's picked up some patterns.
Also, too, Victor strikes me as the kind of person like this on the spectrum or something, right? And I don't want to make these like vast generalizations. Moon, our dog is making all this noise. I don't want to make these vast generalizations, but some people feel that people with autism are actually more in tune with things that aren't necessarily seen.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, right? So if Victor's on the spectrum, he's one of the people like a girl who's talking to these things, and even this little boy that's able to talk to and see things that other people are not, which is really, really weird and interesting at the same time. But like, I'm still confused on the timeline, because Donna's saying she's been there for a year, right? Victor's a grown man. How so you mean to tell me Victor looks like he's what, in his mid-30s? So you mean to tell me Victor's been walking around in this place for 25 years? Like that is just
I think something time is
like,
just
what is
different.
it? Or and I heard some people say, like, is there a time shift thing going on here? Because, you know, are they pulling people from different, like, you have the soldiers. When dude was imagining, he had the World War One soldiers showing.
Right.
Then you know, so like, is this like a time thing as well? Because how does Victor as a kid survive for 20 something years? He has to feed himself, he has to run from the monsters, he has, like, how does he do that for 20 something years?
Maybe somebody's in the lighthouse
Moon,
cranking something,
come here,
making
come here,
Farmville spin around
Yeah.
like the island on Lost. But I mean, the thing that you were saying with Victor, I do agree with, but I also, just to throw this out there, you know, if
Go to
he
your
was
cage.
there in Fromville with these monsters when he was younger, you know, I think he's lived in that town before. I don't know, but
Yeah.
he has
Maybe.
faced a lot of trauma
Mhm.
with, you know,
or
being there.
maybe.
And so, like,
Yeah.
when you're in trauma like that, you kind of get stuck there mentally, where your trauma has affected you the most. So Victor, that could explain why Victor is so childlike. I mean, I don't know.
But you know what I don't see in the comments is, and Jay was referring to these symbols, and what do these symbols represent that are in these books, and they keep appearing. He's having these visions about these symbols, and there's something to that.
Maybe they're the opposite of the talismans, like
Right.
Ethan was saying about the symbols.
Right, because they went through 10 episodes last year, and you saw this, and now you're in, episode 1 of season 2, and then you have this again. So I'm just curious, like, what will these symbols turn out to be? What is it related to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And like I said, it boils down to, once again, them giving us so many questions. And we've been going at it pretty tough. And it's probably about time to wrap it up. But I want everybody to maybe just share, like, just like a global theory of just, I know that we don't have a whole lot of information. We got a ways to go. But if you just had to, like, if somebody said, hey, I got $1 million that I'll bet on you to just make one theory about the show or anything.
I already told you my theory. I feel like this is like a TV show that, like a reality show, rich people are watching somewhere and they're making this go down. That's what I think.
Well, I think, and I cheated a little bit. I went on to IMDb and just pulled up the cast of characters.
Hey, don't give them no spoilers that'll make the people mad at us, Derek.
Okay.
Oh no, it's not a spoiler. It just shows like how many episodes everyone is going to be in this season, and Elgin is going to be in all 10 episodes.
He's a main character, from what I've heard.
Right, so he's going to end up being a main character, and I think he's going to really hold the key to them getting out of there. Because think about this, and someone commented on it, is that everybody that ended up in that town, what happened? 2 things happened. 1, there was a fallen tree, and 2, they looked up and saw ravens. But this bus just rolled up into the town. How is that? And then you have these things going on with Elgin. And so I think that they're either the key to finding out what this all is, or the key to them getting out, or the key to everybody's demise is going to all run through Elgin.
So that's a good theory. I like that.
That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
You can claim it first. I think that Boyd is going to get sick, or I think that he's somehow going to get meshed in with the monsters, and maybe a process of, like, becoming a monster is going to happen to him. I don't know if it was a spider bite, or I don't know if it's going to be because he gets got while he's up there at the well, or whatever the case may be. But I think that the community...
'Cause it is getting dark.
Yeah. I think that the community is going to have to decide what they're going to do with him if he returns and he's turning. or something to that effect. So I'm wanting to see what's going to happen with him when he actually is able to return. I'm also wondering how is the community going to accept, is it Sarah when she returns, because everybody thinks that she ran in the forest and is dead. I think that Sarah's going to play a big part in this too as well.
Okay.
So that's our episode, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, and keep those comments going. We want to know, we've talked about our theories, but we want to know, what is your thought on a possible red herring? Are there any red herrings that you might see in this show? Let us know in the comments below, and we will catch you guys later.
Thanks for joining us, Derek.
Thanks for joining us, Derek.
Right, and don't forget, everyone, if you like the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
There you go, D. All right, guys. Peace.
Bye.
Ooh.